Hey guys, welcome back to another DJI Air 3 video, and that means this week we are covering hyperlapses with the DJI Air 3. This is quite an uncomfortable position where I'm sitting at the edge of the bed, but this setup is my new setup temporarily for the next 4 weeks. If you're new, hello, my name is Dimitrios and I create videos on drones, photography and everything in between, and it's a mix of entertaining and educational content. After several years flying the reliable DJI Mini 2, I finally upgraded to the DJI Air 3 and I was overwhelmed with all its functions and abilities. And I thought, why not share my journey with you guys as I learned the DJI Air 3 and all its capabilities. Think of this as a series of videos as a guide to help you get the most out of your DJI Air 3. To stay up to date for future videos, hit that subscribe button. That being said, let's get on with the video. First, let's discuss all the settings and options available to you within hyperlapse mode. And this isn't just for the DJI 3, this will apply to other DJI drones with these functions like the Mini 3 Pro and Mini 4. Does Mini 3 have hyperlapse? It must be. So you get 4 options with hyperlapse. You have free, circle, course lock, and waypoint. And with each of these, you can either shoot in 4K or 2.7K at 916, which is the vertical resolution. Now for original files, as a hyperlapse is a series of images just created into a video, you can either have nothing and it'll just create a video for you, save JPEGs or raw files. And that way you could edit these photos later and then use these photos to create a video. Under camera settings, you have the option for auto and manual. And here you can set the white balance, choose where you want to store the files, whether they're in internal memory if your drone has that, or your SD card. And within manual mode, you can also set your ISO, your shutter speed, and your exposure value. You can also choose whether you want to create a hyperlapse with the 24 or 70mm option. If you have the Mini 3 Pro, you're stuck with the 24mm. Just note here that DJI will always output an MP4 video file for you. And this file will be at 25 frames per second and in 8-bit color. For the purposes of this video, I either shot the hyperlapses in auto or in pro mode, and I just set the ISO and shutter speed to auto, and this is just for educational purposes. If you know ideal settings for hyperlapses, let others in the community know by providing your feedback in the comment section down below. So how do you perform hyperlapses? Let's discuss the first option, which is the free mode. Now in the free mode, you can just set your parameters, which is the interval, the length, and the speed that the drone you want to fly at. Now intervals, you can shoot between 2 to 15 seconds. The length is up to 30 seconds. The drone will warn you if you have insufficient battery. And then the speed of the drone, and this will be from 0.2 miles per hour to 6.7 miles per hour. And in free mode, literally, you can fly the drone as you wish to create a hyperlapse, and the drone will top out at the speed that you set it at. So if you set it at 3 miles per hour, it's not going to go faster than that. I recommend when you're doing hyperlapses just to use the cruise control button, so you don't have to hold the stick all the time. Just hit the C1 button, that's what I've set mine as, and just let the drone do its thing. Within free mode, you can obviously maneuver the drone as you wish, whether you want to pan left and right, do you want to rotate the drone, you can do whatever you wish to create a hyperlapse until the interval set for the images has completed. So for the purposes of this video, I just kept it short at, I think it was 5 seconds long or 10 seconds long for the hyperlapse, because otherwise they do take a while. For circle mode, it's pretty much the same thing, except this time the drone will go in a circle. All you want to do here again is set your parameters, select your point of interest, and then when you click record, the drone doesn't automatically move to left or right. You have to physically push the stick left or right, and again, just use cruise control and the drone will capture a set of images in a circumference. As for course lock, think of this as a camera on a dolly. So the first thing you want to do here is set your drone's course. So point it in the direction you want your drone to fly at. So in the example that I did here, in Limassol, there is a stretch called Molos, and I wanted to fly parallel to Molos. So I pointed my drone east And then once I've set my direction, you can lock it. And now you can move the drone wherever you wish to find your point of interest because your course is locked. I just selected a point of interest in the middle. You can just use your finger to create a box. And then once that is set, you can select your parameters again. So that is your interval, the length of the video that you want, and the speed that you want the drone to fly at. Once you're set here, just click record and the drone will start moving parallel or along the course that you set earlier until the hyperlapse has finished. Now the last one on the list here is waypoints hyperlapse. Now there aren't any parameters to set here. Essentially all you want to do is find points of interest and then you maneuver the drone, and then the DJI app will automatically calculate the amount of images and time required. Before we move on to my findings, I just want to dig a little bit more into the parameters available when you're setting these for your hyperlapses. So the first one would be the interval, and this is how frequent the picture will be taken, and this will be from 2 to 15 seconds. The length is how long you want your hyperlapse to be, the video to be, because DJI outputs an MP4 file. So the shortest is 2 seconds, and the longest is 30 seconds. Now bear in mind, a 30-second hyperlapse will take a very long time to shoot, depending if you have a sufficient battery. This is why the Air 3 will be superior to the Mini 4 Pro, as it has a longer flight time and it also handles better in windier conditions. And the last thing here is the speed of the drone you want to maneuver. And this will range from 0.2 miles an hour to 6.7 miles an hour. So how quick the drone will maneuver. I also want to add that when you're in free mode, you do not have to move the drone. You can literally just let the drone hover in a single position and it will create a hyperlapse, also known as time lapse. A time lapse is normally when a camera is in a stationary position. Hyperlapse is when a camera is moving throughout a sequence. Another thing to note in course lock mode is that you don't have to select the point of interest. You can just maneuver the drone manually and rotate the gimbal to create a hyperlapse of your choosing. When the drone is shooting a hyperlapse, you can open the map and you can see the start and end point. Now, normally if the drone's going to take a while to shoot, the end point won't be visible. However, for purposes of this video, I was shooting shorter time lapses. You can see the end point of the drone, which will be indicated as a red dot on the screen, on the map, I should say. Okay, my findings with hyperlapses. For every 25 images is 1 second of video, which makes sense if DJI is outputting a video at 25 frames per second. When shooting hyperlapses, you need to be patient. This isn't something recorded quickly, it's done very slowly. The good thing about this is you can literally admire your drone as it's flying by, and for safety reasons, you just keep an eye out for air hazards. And like I said earlier, the Air 3 is going to be superior to the Mini 4 Pro because it has a longer flight time and it has better resistance to the wind. Free mode hyperlapses might be beneficial as you can create your own. However, when I was doing a simple test today, just to see what it'd be like with rotating the gimbal up, you need to do it a lot slower. So I think just letting the drone do its thing is going to be the hyperlapses will come out a lot better than it would be if you did it manually. So if you want to do a flyover and you wanted your gimbal to rotate down, I would just set this to course lock and let the drone do the work. And you can achieve the same result with free mode and course lock. Course lock, it will just literally stay on one path, whereas in free mode, you can keep it on one path if you just set it using cruise control and a point of interest. The great thing about waypoints is that when you set your waypoints within hyperlapse mode, you can revisit this and load the same mission again and maybe take a different time of day. When I was doing my test, I wanted to see if it will switch between the 70mm and the 24mm during the hyperlapse, and then this didn't work, which is a shame. But if you think about it, DJI is outputting a video. How do you transition from a 24 to a 70mm or vice versa, unless there was some automated transition that can go in? Another thing I noticed at the end of my hyperlapse testing was that the motors were hot. Now, I don't know if this is because of the location I'm at. It was like the high 20s here in Cyprus, even in the evening. So just something to take note of. Just fill your motors when you finish your hyperlapses. And this was actually the first time I was able to go through 3 batteries because of the length of time needed for hyperlapses. Like I said, you've got to be patient. Some hyperlapses can take 20 minutes, half an hour. Again, you want to keep an eye on the drone and the reception of the drone because the drone could go long distances. Last part here is future improvements. I did click record, oh thank God for that. Now, what would I like to see improved with hyperlapse mode? And if you have any other suggestions or ideas, put it in the comment section down below. Now, the first one would be if we were able to use the map to set the course lock mode so we can actually pinpoint the start and end points with hyperlapses rather than using the drone. It'd be quicker and easier, I think, if you could do it within the map and then you can set your parameters afterwards or your point of interest. That way we can get an exact parallel line to a coastline or whatever we're trying to shoot. I mentioned this earlier, but within the waypoints hyperlapse mode, it would be nice if we're able to switch between the 24 and 70mm and vice versa. And DJI can just add a simple pull in or pull out transition or a crossfade transition within that. That'll be cool to have. So that way we can highlight certain areas, like zooming in on a building and then zooming out to reveal something as a hyperlapse. I would also like to see night mode capabilities added. If DJI outputting a video to have better low light performance when creating hyperlapses. I might need to make another video on this, but using a longer shutter speed, like 2 seconds, and then increasing the interval to maybe 3 seconds, maybe creating a cool long exposure hyperlapse. I do need to test this. And the last thing really, it'd be nice if DJI can output a 10-bit file for color grading purposes to match the rest of the footage like shot in video, and maybe even having a 24, 25 and 30 frames per second output to match your editing timeline. I know some people like to edit at 25, some people edit at 24, others like to edit in 30 frames per second, just like I do. Whew, I think that was it. That was, you know what? I was apprehensive doing this video, and then as soon as I started digging into the results, I got more excited, especially as I was doing the hyperlapses and the way the footage was coming out. Obviously, I still got to play with them, but yeah, this is exciting, and I think I'm going to use this a lot more within my videos. So next week, I've decided we're going to cover master shots and quick shots. We'll probably be able to combine those as one. If there's anything you want to learn about the Air 3, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know what drone you're flying. Is the Air 3 a drone that you wish to upgrade to? And if you enjoyed this video and found it informative, remember to hit that like button, as it does push the video out further to others for them to see and learn about hyperlapses. And finally, subscribe for more drones, photography, and everything in between. And YouTube recommends you watch this one next. See you in the next video. Peace.